Hello, everybody. My name is Matthias Fuchs from Sweden University. What we are presenting here are the summary of a two-day workshop on the topic of business intelligence and big data in travel and tourism. The workshop was held today and yesterday, the 11th and 12th of April 2016. Big data, business intelligence are two very important new topics related to tourism practice, to tourism research. And we were very proud to have invited and to have had here during the last 2 days 21 contributors in the field of big data and travel and tourism. From over 10 international countries, from the States to China to Australia, and of course, most of the European countries. The format of this little conference was as the first day we had presentations on ongoing research of these invited researchers. A couple of very interesting topics have been presented, from recommender systems, from real big data in the airline sector, prognosticating airline travel data, but also mobility pattern, traffic optimization, decision support system development in Greece, in Austria, by using the most important tools of artificial learning, artificial intelligence, but also the very core activity like user-generated content analysis. We had a couple of papers and contributions talking about these important areas. What was also interesting, a special interesting insight provided by Rodolfo Baggio, who is sitting next to me, to do a review research how much tourism research is already actively working with big data and business intelligence, especially when it comes to published research. And astonishingly enough, in the most important publication organs like the ENTER conferences, but also the Journal of Information Technology and Travel and Tourism, only about 18, respectively 20 papers have been identified focusing on the topic of business intelligence and big data. So obviously we are quite sure that these topics are not buzzwords, since the tourism industry and the tourism research is mostly information intensive, and therefore both management as well as a research shift is ongoing towards a computational tourism research and tourism practice, respectively. Once again, I would love to thank my co-chairs, Maria Lexhagen and Wolfram Höpken. Maria Lexhagen is also from the Sweden University. Wolfram Höpken is from the Ravensburg University of Applied Science, Ravensburg-Weingarten in Germany, who is sitting next to me. As I said, the format of this workshop was the first day basically like a mini conference, open also to the entire university. The second day was devoted to intensive internal discussions about basically the topics of large-scale data sources, how they should be handled, which are the basic research and development challenges for travel and tourism, but also big data applications, both again promising research areas and development needs, and finally usage scenarios, promising usage scenarios for real-time data in travel and tourism. And these three topical discussion areas we discussed today are now being summarized by my colleagues. Please. Who will summarize the note of Rodolfo?
Yes, some random thoughts about what we've been discussing for the whole day today and from what we've seen yesterday. I think that we all recognize the importance of these combined philosophies, methodologies, and techniques. As Matthias was saying, yes, we realize that not much has been done so far. I mean, there are many talking about big data and business intelligence, but when it comes to the real work in the research area, not much has been done. There are probably many reasons for that. From my point of view, the first one and probably most important is that we need to change the attitude towards this field of research. It's a field which is, as has been recognized by all of us, a strong push towards a collaboration between different knowledge areas. This is a field where it is no more a one-man shop. You need different skills, different expertise, different capabilities to read the results and to interpret. So you definitely need to be starting some inter, multi, or cross-disciplinary. There are many definitions possible, but we understand work, because the tools needed are not more so simple to be used. They need definitely a heavy support from computer science. They need a heavy support from the statistical and methodological point of view. They need a heavy support from another series of areas, and they also obviously need a strong support from a good knowledge of the problems and the issues at stake. The second thing is that putting together business intelligence and big data is not because of it's not trivial, but it's the recognition that we need big data to inform mainly the activities in the field. I mean, it's not just because it's nice to put them together. There is a recognized importance in the fact that we don't research big data just because it's fashionable in this moment, but we do think that it can provide all of the most of what is missing today, that is the knowledge of what is going on in a destination or in an area, and try to use as much as possible all of the possible sources of information for informing better decision, better planning, better conditions of life during the tourist seasons. A couple of, at least for the first part, but then it follows during the whole conversation, we can start to see a common line that starts from the issues related with the collection of data, because we all recognize that there is this idea that since the web is big and there are hundreds of thousands of millions of possible sources, it may look easy to collect what we need, but it's not easy at all, because we have a number of issues on the techniques used to collect data and to store the data we need, issues on the validity and the reliability of what we collect and how to use them, issues of standardization, because these are totally unstructured words, so we need to be able to put this thing together. And the second thing is that then we need a thorough and deep methodological work in trying to find better ways for integrating all of the different sources, because it's not that trivial. Many are developing new algorithms, new methodologies, new techniques, and we need to be able to contribute to that one, but also to choose what are the best possible tools we can to be used in the tourist field. And the final, at least for me, the final thought is that we definitely need to change the attitude. And since the world is getting so let's say more sophisticated and complicated, we need also to be more open and share better what we do, not only by publishing a paper, but we definitely need to share data, to share programs, to share scripts, to share tools, because they're not easy to develop. They require resources and time, and we don't want to start every time to reinvent the wheel and start again. And it is, I think, a wonderful initiative started already, not directly, probably directed, connected with this one, but is the data repository that IFITT is trying to put together, because this is a good starting point. Let's start to share data, let's start to agree on what can be useful ways of representation for this data. Let's start to share the tools we use, because this can only benefit the community and increase the number of useful works that can be produced.
Thank you, Rodolfo, for summarizing the first part of the discussion this afternoon. I think Phil is the second to summarize.
Hello. Hi there. I think we following the first number of discussions, we also had some discussions and actually kind of on the topics of applications of big data and business intelligence in travel and tourism, and we agreed upon a number of issues. Particularly, I think from what I learned from the participants, I think there's still, while the research area is very exciting and promising, that allows us to bring a number of disciplines together to study the tourism and hospitality related problems. But we're facing some important challenges. In particular, that the participants believe that we are missing, or we're lacking a general framework that helps us to define important and critical business problems in this field. And we believe that without that kind of the framework, it is really difficult to conduct research related to big data and business intelligence. And we also believe there's issues related to methodologies in this kind of research, especially in quality of data, modeling methods, etc. When it comes to the future of this kind of research, and we believe that we are really lacking talent. There's a significant so-called talent gap in terms of both, from the industry point of view, from the academic point of view. I think there's a great need for us to educate the next generation, if possible, if you want, of researchers and people who have the skill sets to understand the importance of big data related research, and also be able to conduct research in those areas. And also we talked about, actually discussed about the challenges related to standardization. I think that's a big problem that which makes this kind of research really kind of chaotic, if you want, and messy. So there's agreement, as Rodolfo talked about earlier, to build the platforms that allow data sharing, open source collaboration to help it to facilitate this kind of research.
Yes, hello from my side as well. So I would like to summarize the third point, but I would first like to go back to Rodolfo's suggestion or mentioning of this IFITT initiative. I think it's important, of course, that we have to collect all those different data types. And of course, we have to start from a business perspective. So we have to try to define the business concepts behind, define perhaps on the level of anthropology, the different concepts which we are talking about, and then to collect data related to those concepts and try then to collect those big data, but of course try to deduce knowledge from those big data in order to use it to answer some research questions we have in mind. Otherwise, if it's pure data driven, you might end up collecting data, huge amounts of data, and afterwards you don't know what to use these data. In this third aspect, on this third discussion part or sub-discussion, we focus on this aspect of the on-site customer data. So typically we get data from the pre-trip phase or from the post-trip phase, data like booking data or information requests the tourists are executing, or from the after the trip giving feedback by surveys or giving feedback by user-generated content. And of course, another interesting data type now is this on-site customer data. So data which are generated during the trip when the customer is on site and he's consuming things or he's giving spontaneous feedback on mobile guides. Then we have the first idea we discussed is that we want to use more ambitious mobile services to get together as many data as possible, like for example, electronic customer cards or mobile social media guides or location-based services, which are used to offer service to the customer, but as well to gather data about the local consumption behavior of the customer. And of course, these services can then be used to deduce the needs of the customer here as on site. And of course, this can then be used on the one hand side for adapting those services again. So we go in the direction of recommender systems, perhaps on the other side, to the supplier side. Of course, it can be used for the supplier to dynamically adapt his offer to this customer needs, which we then can identify in real time. This was the one idea. The second discussion we had about transportation services and the transportation modes which are used on site. This is another interesting source of information that, of course, we know those data are available, which transportation modes are used by the customer when he is in the destination. This information, of course, can be used additionally to the other data sources, which are out there. On the one hand, of course, to optimize transportation services, but it can as well be used to optimize the overall tourism offer, because, of course, transportation is closely related to other services which are used within the destination. So you can, for example, deduce movement patterns, how the customers are moving through the destination in order to optimize tourism services. So this is another interesting data source which we identified. And the third one is then we had a discussion about even more data sources, some data sources which are perhaps not that apparent if you think about this for the first time. So one is local consumption behavior we get, for example, from cash register systems and so on. This is quite similar to this idea of a mobile customer card. Traffic data again, but then something like waste production data coming from this kind of, perhaps not consumption data, but it's other places the tourist leaves when doing something in the destination. Also such data that you can use to deduce how many customers are in those destinations at all, because this even is a problem. Lots of destinations have that they don't know exactly how many one-day visitors, for example, are in the destination at the moment. Those new data sources can even be used to get more information. And of course, then is the question which data, or which factors are interesting, for example, to forecast or to estimate the number of arrivals, the number of visits you might have in the destination. So in this third area, we discussed all those different approaches, how you could reach or you could get new data, or use new data to get more insights, to create more knowledge than which has been available in the past.
Thank you, Wolfram. I think in some summarizing final words, I can basically say that the workshop goes, namely to share experiences, opinions with ongoing research in the field of big data, business intelligence and tourism, the one side, but also to basically and most importantly to discuss trends of BI and big data in the travel and tourism domain, and also to identify knowledge gaps and promising research topics for future, hopefully also jointly research projects has been fully achieved. So what remains to me is basically to thank all of the contributors to the speakers of this two-day workshop, but what is also important to announce that all the papers and abstracts, extended abstracts are available in this workshop, IFITT workshop proceedings at the same place. And also would like to announce that presently there is published a special issue on business intelligence and big data in travel and tourism domain by the Journal of Information Technology in Tourism, on this published by Springer. So these are all quite important publications in the field, most timely and basically contributed by this group sitting now here in Ostersund in Mid-Sweden University. Finally, the final thank, of course, goes to IFITT, the International Foundation for Information Technology and Tourism, for their great support of this two-day workshop, which is therefore also labeled as IFITTtalk Ostersund. Thank you so much and see you soon.